Hey, if you've been watching my channel lately, you know I do a lot of videos on giving you good information and tips on getting the ball down the fairway farther, no matter what age, no matter what size, no matter what strength. It doesn't really matter that much for hitting it out there. But believe me, I know more than most. I know full well the value of keeping the ball straight as well, because a long drive that is not in play is of very little value. So stick with me for a minute. I'm going to explain how to hit your drives dead straight consistently right after this. Hey, this is Steve from HitItLonger.com. If you are new to the channel, you might consider hitting the subscribe button. That way you get notification of any future videos I put out. You'll also want to check in the, scroll down to the description in this video, and there's a couple of cool freebies down there that I'm giving away. Okay, let's get right to it. There are three main components of hitting it dead straight down the middle. These can't be argued with. They are just fundamental laws of physics and the physics of the collision that we cannot ignore, we cannot fool. No matter what style of swing we use, we must have these three things. Number one, we must have a path that is straight. We must have a club face angle that is straight or pointed at our target at the moment of impact. And the third thing we must have a center strike. Now, you're going to be hitting the ball consistently straight without doing any of these three things absolutely perfect. It is a little bit of a sliding scale. For example, if you're aspire to hit the ball down the middle 250 yards, you have a little wiggle room in the angle of the face. You probably have up to plus or minus 3 degrees of error you can make and still keep the ball in the fairway. Also, your path, you've got a little wiggle room as well to consistently hit the ball in the fairway. Your path can probably be up to 3 or 4 degrees, in to out, out to in. Anywhere within plus or minus 4, maybe even 5 degrees, you'll consistently hit the ball straight at 250 yards. You can even get away with a little bit of mishit here and there. You got to keep it in this center ring in the face. You can't get way on the outer extremes. But if you want to hit it dead straight all the time, you've got to have these three conditions at the moment of impact, no matter how you swing. Let's talk a little bit more on each of these three things, and then I'm going to show you how I'm doing it. Okay, the first component is club path. So a straight club path is not really straight. So a straight club path does not come into the ball on a straight line. It comes in on a curve from the inside, bottoms out a little bit behind the ball, and then starts to turn upwards, hopefully. And at the moment of the strike, just for that snapshot, that photograph in time, your club head is moving right at the target, which for me is the right side of the oak tree sitting out here in the fairway. And then after the impact, your club will exit around to the left. TrackMan reads that as 0 degrees or straight. The primary errors in path would be a swing that would be too outside to in, cutting across. If you swing like this, you will tend to pull the ball and slice the ball. Too far in to out would look like this. Your path would be too far to the right at the moment of the strike. Players who swing like this will tend to push and hook. So we do want an arc. It's a mild arc coming into the ball, squaring up, exiting back around to the left. The closer you can get your path to 0, the more likely it is that you're going to hit the ball straight. Path is about 15% on a driver of the influence on what direction and where the ball is going to end up. So it is of some importance. Okay, now let's talk about the face. The face of the club is super important to hitting it straight. That's the angle of the face at impact. Given a center strike, it's about 85% of the influence on what direction the ball will start and really where it's going to end up. 85%. So predominantly your shots are governed by the face and where the shots end up. There are a couple of main errors or a couple classifications of golfers who have a hard time getting the face to be square or 0 degrees at the moment of impact. The first golfer, not as highly skilled usually more of a beginner, tends to not apply enough torque, which is force that causes rotation. They don't create enough torque in the face to cause it to square up in the first place. So that golfer will tend to leave it open and will tend to miss the ball off to the right or slice. That golfer needs to apply enough torque both at the wrist, the handle, and with the body to cause the club face to get square and not stay open. Another common club face error is normally done by a higher skilled golfer, and that is the golfer that either comes in too far from the inside or comes in and gets the handle stuck up and out like this, and they have to introduce a quick flip of the club face with the wrist like that, and so the club face is going from open to shut very rapidly, and what we would call rate of face closure. If you have a high rate of face closure, you can deal with it if you hit enough balls and you're talented. There are some really famous golfers in the Hall of Fame who had a high rate of face closure. They went from open to close pretty quick, but they're rarer and it takes a lot more. It takes a lot more talent, hand-eye coordination. It takes a lot more practice. It's more temperamental, usually. You probably don't want to have to do that unless you've got a swing that's you've been doing it all your life and you've learned how to time it, but it can be a tough way to go. Ideally, we'd like to have a lower rate of face closure where the face comes in more square and exits more square to the arc, that is, to the arc that it's coming on. It's a lot easier to time, and when things go wrong under pressure, your errors tend to be much smaller. Okay, moving on to the last aspect here is where you're striking it in the center of the face. The average golfer does not hit the center of the face dead center very often. It's kind of hit or miss. And let me give you a couple of key principles that you won't hear anybody anywhere else on any other channel, I don't believe, in my secrets to hitting it dead solid every time. And that's two things. Number one, you've got a bone back here on the back of your neck. It's a bump at the base of your neck. That's your 7th cervical vertebrae. So if you were building a swing robot, like let's say the Pingman or Iron Byron, that machine has a hub that never moves. It stays central and stable. Okay, we want to be more like a human machine, and that is the center of our swing circle, the hub. Okay, that C7, if we can keep it as centered as possible, we have a better chance at returning the club back into the ball square. The second measurement would be what I call the radius. That would be the distance from that C7 bone down to the handle of the club. You can see I have a fixed linear distance right now as I set up to the ball from the handle of the club up to the base of the neck. Let's just call it 30 inches. I don't know exactly. Let's call it 30 inches. One big error that you can make to throw this off is to take the club up to the top and then collapse the arc. All of a sudden now, the space between the base of the neck and the handle is now only about 12 inches. And so I'm going to have to figure out how to put it back on the track again before I get down to the ball. This will not be as consistent. You could probably make it work if you practiced it enough, but it'll never be as good as if you never took it off the track to begin with. It would be like driving a train off the tracks, steering it through the desert, the landscape, and then you've got the bridge coming up and you've got to steer it right back on the tracks perfectly straight before you go over the cliff. Now, I wouldn't want to be riding on that train. You wouldn't either, probably. I'd rather be on the train that just stays right down the tracks the whole way for a nice smooth ride. That would mean that we're going to have to keep this mean radius, which would mean keeping the 30 inches, which would be keeping the club way up here wide like that. That way the handle of the club comes right back down to where it started again. And with the center C7, those are the two things that are going to help you return the club face to square most often. Okay, let me see if I can put my own wisdom to the test. I'm going to give it a shot here. I'm going to see how close I can get to zero path, zero face, centered strike, which TrackMan will read as smash factor. That's how close to the center of the face you're getting. Okay. Good straight drive. Let's check it out. All right, that one was 106 miles an hour. Ball went 304, and it did finish up. Hey, only 4 yards left of center there at 304 yards. Path of 0.8 or 0. The face is open too because I towed it a little bit. Hit it dead center. Good drive. Okay, here's another example. We got 307 yards. 307 yards, path of 2.4 into out with a face angle of only 1.2 degrees open. So again, I'm falling in those parameters. I have a perfect smash factor of 1.51. So I hit all three. Pretty good drive. All right, I had looks like I got all the three prerequisites I was looking for. I have a path there of 0.5 degrees inside out. I hit it a little in the toe, which resulted in a face angle of 2 degrees open, but it caused it to draw back right to the center again. Perfect smash of 1.51, and I hit the ball at just about 106 miles an hour. I hit the ball just shy of 300, 299.1. I'll show this up a little closer. And the ball finished in the center of the fairway. So I pretty much did the three things that I was trying to do, which is swing with a straight path, hit the ball in the center or close, and get the face, you know, maybe at 300, we're probably looking at plus or minus 2 degrees, open or shut, to keep the ball in the fairway. And so I was able to do that pretty well too. Not a perfect hit, but certainly got away with a little bit of a miss hit towards the toe, and everything was fine. So you don't have to be dead on zero every time to keep it down the fairway consistently. You just want to kind of be in that ballpark every time. If you're hitting it longer, well, you're probably going to have to be tighter with the club face, 325, 350. Now you're only having maybe a 1 to 1.5 degree error in the face to keep it in a 40-yard wide fairway. So the longer you hit it, really the more accurate you've got to get with the club face and the path and everything. You really have to zoom in on everything. Hey, I hope this was informative. I hope you'll give the video a like and consider subscribing to my channel. I'd really love to have you. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Have you tried any of these things? Do you know what your path is? Do you know what is your tendency? Do you tend to miss to the right, miss to the left? Maybe we can work on it together. Hey, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.